following episode depicts acts of violence and describes serious injuries in detail. Listener discretion is advised. You won't find the name of Travis Monroe listed among the Worcester Police Department's unsolved homicide cases. The morning of October 1st, 2006, Travis's body was found lying in the road on Fales Street, near the corner of Gunnarson Road in Worcester's Burncoat neighborhood. Travis's death certificate states the immediate cause of his death was blunt impact to his head, with skull fractures and brain lacerations. The Worcester Police determined Travis's death to be a result of a hit and run. State's medical examiner report states the cause of Travis's death is undetermined. Travis's mother believes her 17-year-old son may have been beaten to death. For 17 years, the truth behind Travis's death eludes them all, and his case remains unsolved.
Unsolved Worcester is brought to you by the following sponsors. Follow the crowd through the doors of Donut Homies and say hi to Haley Noel, the donut queen of Worcester's Canal District. Donut Homies is open inside the Worcester Public Market at 160 Green Street every Wednesday through Sunday at 11 a.m. Online ordering with delivery and pickup options is available at donuthomies.com. Follow Donut Homies on Facebook and Instagram for monthly menu drops, specials, and more. Donut Homies, everything's sweeter with the homies.
Welcome back to Unsolved Worcester. I'm your host, Dan Yeager. Today's episode marks the start of Season 5, as we take a close look at a death not found on Worcester Police Department's Unsolved Cases list. Around 5:30 a.m. on October 1st, 2006, the body of 17-year-old Travis Monroe was found in the middle of Fales Street. When police arrived at the scene, officers found Travis's body in the fetal position, with heavy bleeding coming from his head. It's likely that Travis's body was in the road for about an hour before a neighbor discovered him and called 911. We should indicate in the early going of this episode that Unsolved Worcester has been provided with copies of police reports, including incident reports and interviews with witnesses, Travis's death certificate, and a copy of the medical examiner's autopsy report, the toxicology report, and more. Starting this season, Unsolved Worcester takes a deep dive every Tuesday into the unsolved murders and missing persons cases under investigation by Worcester Police Department's Detective Unit. Our goal is to remind residents of the Worcester area, both past and present, there are dozens of unsolved murders and missing persons cases that need resolution. We hope we can be the spark needed to solve a case. Be sure to visit Unsolved Worcester on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and listen to all episodes for free at unsolvedworcester.com and on your favorite podcast streaming platforms. And check out the video for this episode with exclusive aerial views and more on our Unsolved Worcester YouTube page, and watch our accompanying videos on YouTube. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Travis Monroe was just 17 years old when he died. He was a junior at Burncoat High School. Travis lived with his mother, Christy Berry, and her husband, Curtis Berry, at 88 Clark Street, about a half mile from where a neighbor from Gunnarson Road drove past Travis's body on Fales Street about 5:30 a.m. on October 1st, 2006. Travis was described by many as a good friend, charming, and funny. His mother said he was a good son. Travis had mild autism. He liked to walk around his Burncoat and Greendale neighborhood area. Like any teenager, he liked music, video games, and movies. The night before Travis died, Saturday, September 30th, 2006, Travis was at the movies at the former Showcase Cinemas North with a group of friends. He wasn't supposed to leave the house that night, though. He had been suspended from school, and his mother had all but grounded him and told him he couldn't go out that weekend. After his mother left that evening to meet with friends, Travis got into an argument with his stepfather, Curtis. Around 10:30 p.m., Travis snuck out of the house with his handheld PlayStation portable video game and walked down to meet his friends at Showcase Cinemas, about 1.5 miles from his home. After the movies, it's where things get foggy, trying to figure out exactly what happened to Travis. Some of his friends told the Telegram and Gazette that the car they were all leaving the movie theater in was full, and Travis decided to walk home in the middle of the night rather than cram into his friend's car. According to a witness report, the first sighting of Travis was around 2:15 a.m. on Fales Street. A former teacher at Burncoat High saw Travis walking down Fales Street toward West Boylston Street, which would be taking him in the opposite direction of his home on Clark Street. The witness said Travis was wearing all black pants and a black hooded sweatshirt. He said Travis appeared to be walking fine and didn't appear intoxicated. Fales Street runs between West Boylston Street east to Burncoat Street. It's less than 1/2 mile long, but parts of Fales Street are steeper than others. The next witness to come forward didn't see Travis until about 2 hours later, around 4:15 a.m. Like the first witness, they said Travis was wearing all black. One witness, however, said Travis was stumbling and appeared drunk. The same witness said Travis was walking up Fales Street toward Burncoat Street, likely trying to get back home to Clark Street. The witness was with a group of friends outside their apartment at 49 Fales Street smoking cigarettes. They told police Travis was walking in the middle of the road on Fales Street. Another witness said Travis was stumbling around and appeared to be very intoxicated, and for a moment started walking back down Fales Street before abruptly turning around and walking back in the direction of Burncoat Street. A group of friends smoking cigarettes told police they were back inside and locked their doors and watched Travis go up the street until he was out of sight. Just over an hour later, Travis's body would be found about 300 feet from where he was last seen on Fales Street. Around 5:30 a.m., a neighbor was driving down Gunnarson Road and was taking a right at the end of the street onto Fales Street when he saw Travis's body in the street, roughly 6 feet off the curb. According to the police report from October 1st, 2006, there was heavy bleeding from Travis's head. By 11 a.m., just 5 hours after Travis was found on Fales Street, after Travis's body was identified by his mother at UMass Memorial Hospital, and after viewing Travis's injuries at the hospital, WPD investigators determined Travis's death was the result of being struck by a motor vehicle. However, officers searched the scene on Fales Street for any possible evidence of a hit and run. They couldn't find any. Coming up, if Travis Monroe was indeed murdered, the Worcester Police Department's case files show there was no shortage of rumors of who might have killed him. A series of interviews was conducted by the Worcester Police Department following a wave of speculation and rumors about Travis Monroe's death flowing through the hallways of Burncoat High School. Within 24 hours of Travis's body being discovered on Fales Street, one of his friends, a 17-year-old male, let's call him Person A, gave police the name of another young man and said that person, let's call him Person B, might have had a beef with Travis. Person A's own mother told the police she thought her son was lying about Person B, said her son had his own issues with Person B. But 24 hours after that, on October 3rd, 2006, Person A named a second male that might be responsible for Travis's murder. But police said Person A couldn't offer any facts or evidence to back his claims against this other young male, or Person C. However, Person C was also named by several Burncoat High students as someone that had a long-standing feud with Travis. But police couldn't find any evidence, and the students had no facts to support their allegations. And yet, Person C pointed the finger at Person A, the young man that had initiated the naming names to police. According to police, Person A was working at Showcase Cinemas the night Travis and his friends were there, and he kept a baseball bat in his trunk. Person A said he was home by 3:15 a.m. the morning Travis was killed and didn't hear about Travis's death until 24 hours later when he saw something about it online. Make things even more confusing, a student came forward to tell police she heard that Person A and Person C killed Travis together. But with all the speculation, rumors, and hearsay, police found all of the initial claims to be unsubstantiated. There was no proof or evidence of any of these young people's involvement in Travis's death. For much of the first year following Travis's death, the rumors and speculations continued. His mother had heard Travis was beaten to death, possibly by as many as 5 young men who may have been waiting for him on Fales Street. She also believed Travis may have been beaten to death, and his body was dumped on Fales Road to make it look like a hit and run. As we've already mentioned, while police believe Travis was struck by a motor vehicle, they never found any physical evidence to support their theory beyond his injuries. What they did find was a tire mark on Travis's t-shirt, but based on his injuries, police immediately ruled out that Travis had been run over by a car. In the early months of the investigation into Travis's death, the cause of his injuries would put the Worcester Police and the state's medical examiner at odds for a brief time, and catapult Travis's mother's efforts into finding who killed her son. The body of Travis Monroe arrived by ambulance at UMass Memorial at 6:09 a.m. on October 1st, 2006, according to the emergency trauma nursing record. Under cause of injury, there are 2 boxes checked off. The first box checked off is pedestrian versus, and next to that is written the word car. However, there is a question mark preceding the word, a clear indication that the nurses in the emergency room weren't sure of how Travis died. Below a series of other possible causes of injury, the second box checked off is other. But the line to fill in what the possible other cause of death is was left blank. The cause of Travis's death was unclear from the start, and it took a few months for the police and the state's medical examiner to get on the same page as to how Travis may have died. As we've already mentioned, the autopsy report shows Travis was likely killed by blunt impact to his head, along with skull fractures and brain lacerations. The toxicology report shows there were no drugs in Travis's system. When findings from the autopsy report were released to the public in late November 2006, the cause of death was listed as undetermined, leading Worcester police detectives to begin investigating Travis's death as a possible homicide, while investigators from the traffic division continue to look at it as a hit and run. The rumors continued to swirl about Travis's death, and his mother, Christy Berry, believed at the time it was unlikely her son was hit by a car, and heard rumors he was beaten with a baseball bat or crowbar. Weeks later, on December 15, 2006, several Worcester police detectives met with the state medical examiner after an internal memo from an assistant district attorney to Worcester County District Attorney John Conte was leaked to police. The memo stated the ADA was requesting the investigation change its focus from a hit and run to a homicide after the ADA had spoken with the medical examiner. A quote from the ADA in the memo stated the following: "It certainly appears that Travis Monroe's death was not the result of a motor vehicle incident." The ADA said the medical examiner stated nothing supports a pedestrian strike, and that the manner of death is not at all clear. WPD investigators said Travis's injuries showed evidence of road rash and friction. Following the meeting with the Worcester PD, the state's medical examiner wouldn't say with 100% certainty that Travis's death was the result of a pedestrian crash. However, the ME did state there was a higher likelihood that the cause of death was a hit and run. The ME said at least 3 of Travis's injuries and bruises were consistent with the point of impact could only have been caused by one object, like a guardrail or a car bumper, and not 3 different strikes from a weapon. But again, the medical examiner couldn't report these findings with 100% certainty, and the cause of death remained undetermined on Travis's autopsy report. Police and the medical examiner also agreed that Travis was killed in the area where his body was found, that he wasn't beaten to death somewhere else and his body dumped on Fales Street, and that he hadn't wandered from where he was assaulted and collapsed and died in the middle of the road. The report states the injuries were so severe the victim wouldn't be moving around after impact. While the findings from the Worcester Police Department and the state's medical examiner's office lean heavily to a hit and run as the cause of 17-year-old Travis Monroe's death on October 1st, 2006, the undetermined cause of death will understandably allow for questions, skepticism, and a multitude of theories until a definitive conclusion comes to light. But here's what we do know. Whether or not Travis was killed in a hit and run, or if he was beaten to death in the road on Fales Street, the person or people responsible for his death have still not been brought to justice. And 17 years later, Travis's death remains unsolved. Later this season, we will share our exclusive interview with Travis's mom, Christy Berry, as she brings us further up to speed on Travis's case and the efforts on her part to find the truth about what happened to her son. Thank you for listening. I'm Dan Yeager. Don't miss another episode. Click the notification button to get alerts when new episodes of Unsolved Worcester drop. If you enjoyed listening to this episode, please consider clicking the like button for us. And if you subscribe, the next episodes will show up in your feed. Click the bell on the right and select all, and you'll get a notification of when the next episode is ready. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, please leave them in the comments below. We do read them all and respond to as many as we can. Anyone with information about what happened to Travis Monroe are asked to contact the Worcester Police Detective Bureau at 508-799-8651 or send an anonymous text to 274-637. Write TIP WPD plus your message or send an anonymous web-based message at worcesterma.gov/police. Come back next week as Season 5 of Unsolved Worcester continues with the unsolved murder of John Sousa in June 2019. John's body was found in a van at a tow yard on Park Avenue in Worcester. Special thanks to the Worcester Public Library, the Worcester Police Department, the City of Worcester, and our sponsors for making this possible. Information on the murder of Travis Monroe was gathered from multiple resources, including Worcester Police case files and reports from the Telegram and Gazette. The Unsolved Worcester podcast music is provided by Tom LaBelzic, the Worcester Jazz Collective. This episode was written and produced by Pat Sargent. Drone footage provided by Ron Scott at New England Skypics. Videography and editing by Colin Turner. Sponsorship information announcer Chandler Walsh. This program is supported in part by a grant from the Worcester Arts Council and the National Endowment for the Arts. To find out more about how National Endowment for the Arts grants impact individuals and communities, visit www.arts.gov.